The Tale of the Ignored Man. In a small village on the edge of a vast savannah, there lived a poor man named Kofi. Despite his humble means, Kofi had a heart full of dreams and a mind teeming with wisdom. Yet, the villagers never seemed to notice him. They were too preoccupied with their own lives and the daily hustle and bustle to pay any attention to the quiet man who lived in a small hut at the outskirts of the village. Kofi went about his daily tasks with a serene smile. He tilled his small piece of land, fetched water from the distant river, and crafted simple but beautiful items from wood and clay. Every evening, he would sit outside his hut, gazing at the stars and pondering the mysteries of life. One day, a great famine struck the village. The rains had failed and the crops withered in the fields. The once lively village was now filled with despair and hunger. The villagers gathered in the central square, desperate for a solution. Among the villagers was a wealthy man named Bakari, who owned vast lands and herds of cattle. He stood before the crowd and spoke, "We must travel to the neighboring village and seek their help. They have always had plenty of food." The villagers agreed, and a group was formed to make the journey. However, Kofi was not included. No one thought to ask for his opinion or assistance. Undeterred, Kofi prepared quietly for the journey on his own. He packed a small bag of dried fruits and set out early the next morning. As the main group struggled along the dusty road, their spirits dampened by the scorching sun and the lack of water, they encountered various challenges. Thieves attempted to steal their possessions, wild animals lurked in the shadows, and the heat was unbearable. Kofi, walking a parallel path, used his knowledge of the land to find hidden streams and shady groves. He helped other travelers along the way, sharing his food and offering words of encouragement. When the villagers reached the neighboring village, they were weak and exhausted. They pleaded for help, but the village chief was reluctant. "We have enough to sustain ourselves," he said. "Why should we give away our precious resources?" It was then that Kofi arrived, his demeanor calm and composed. He stepped forward and addressed the chief. "Great chief, I understand your concerns, but I have traveled far and helped many along the way. I ask for nothing for myself, only for my people. If you help us now, we will repay your kindness when the rains return." The chief, moved by Kofi's selflessness and wisdom, agreed to help. He ordered his people to share their food and water with the struggling villagers. The two villages formed a bond of friendship and mutual support that would last for generations. When the villagers returned home, they realized the value of the man they had ignored for so long. Kofi's wisdom and kindness had saved them in their time of greatest need. They gathered outside his humble hut and expressed their gratitude. From that day on, Kofi was no longer the ignored man. He became a respected elder whose words were sought in times of trouble and whose presence brought peace and prosperity to the village. And as he gazed at the stars each evening, he knew that his dreams had finally taken flight. Moral of the story. The story of Kofi teaches us that every person, no matter how humble or overlooked, has value and wisdom to offer. In times of adversity, it is often the quietest voices that provide the greatest guidance.